Hello, Carlo. Kiyan Sobhani from Managing Madrid. I wanted to ask you a tactical question about Arda Güler. Arda Güler. You were speaking earlier about all the things he does well and how well he performed today. What do you think is his best position? And do you think it's possible for him to evolve into a deeper role, kind of like Toni Kroos did?
Best position of Arda is between lines. Can be as number 10, can be a little bit center right, because I don't think it's not good for him to play on the left, because with the left foot he had, it's better to stay on the right side to have more opportunity to shoot. I think in the future can be, if you play with three midfielder, can be one of the three.
Last two questions, unas preguntas.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid Podcast, live from Soldier Field. If you're watching this on YouTube instead of listening on Spotify or Apple, you get the bonus treat of seeing the empty Soldier Field behind us. I'm Kiyan Sobhani, joined by Siddharth Ramsundar, who he would be a little bit more awake tonight if he didn't load up on the buffet full of carbs like 5 rounds. Nevertheless, we're going to do a post-game podcast this way. A little bit more informal because we are pretty fried. It is like almost 11 p.m. here. We just finished the press conferences. I will insert the question I posed to Carlo Ancelotti tonight, which I thought was interesting because I asked him about Arda Güler. Would you say Arda Güler was one of the standout performers today?
Yeah. I thought he was maybe the best player, or got like the most. He got in between the lines a lot, created a lot of danger in the first half, and yeah, I think he caught everyone's eye the most. Endrick caught people's eye, Modric a little bit, but really Endrick and Martinez, the center back, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Güler was the most interesting. He tried a lot of things, a lot of good combination play.
Brahim was the other one.
Yeah, he was good. I thought Güler was better in the first half even than Brahim, and yeah, it was a pretty impressive game from him.
So what I was curious, because the reason I asked Carlo that question was because there were a couple of passes that Güler had in this game where it's almost blasphemous to say anyone reminds you of Toni Kroos. But some of his long-range diagonal passes were very crisp and accurate, and he hit them in stride. Like, he wasn't even that open. He just kind of opened up his body and hit them really well. So I asked Carlo, like, do you think Güler could transform into a deeper role? Ultimately, after a really insightful answer, he did end up saying that Güler could play in the midfield 3.
Yeah.
But he also said his best position is going to be on the right or as a 10 and not on the left because he's a left-footed player, right? I mean, you might remember his answer better than I did.
He said basically that you have to shoot. Like, you can't take him away from a place where he can shoot. So on the left side, the angle to shoot is just gone for him. And he just believes in his shot, which is why he wants him to play closer to goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's obviously has the ability to drop a little deeper. I'm really glad he answered that.
Yeah, as opposed to my question to him yesterday, which he didn't really answer, but I love the guy anyway. There's not like too much to take away from this game. I've sat through a lot of preseason games. This is the most watered down I can remember the team being, just in terms of like the squad wasn't there tonight. Like all the Spaniards who won the Euros, the entire French contingent, the Brazilians apart from Endrick. Rodrigo was here, but he was just warming up before the field. He wasn't going to play tonight. They all, like, the Brazilians will return tomorrow. But this was the most watered down I remember like a Real Madrid preseason squad being. We had 7 Castilla players coming in the second half. And the stars, I think, we had Modric, Güler, Brahim, Endrick. That quartet, I think, Rudiger was there.
Yeah, it looked like Milan might run away with it at one point. Once they made it 1-0. And then the Castilla boys just fought for their, pride.
Yeah.
They played with some pride. They fought, and they definitely gave Milan problems. Could have equalized by the end, I think. So that was nice to see. Obviously, Brahim, Ceballos, I think Vasquez, there weren't that many first-teamers left on the pitch in the second half, but all the first-teamers left looked more mature. Until the 65th, 70th minute, I think that's when Real Madrid started picking it up. But yeah, everyone was talking about Martinez too. Press conference during the game.
Yeah.
Martinez made an impression on a lot of people.
I liked him. I mean,
Joan Martinez. Yeah.
It's fun. Like the thing with him, like we saw him walk through the mix zone after the game. Kid is huge. Like these Castilla players, when you see them in person, you're like, oh my god, like they're such big human beings. Like Joan Martinez is one of the tallest 16-year-olds I think I've seen that is not a basketball player. Mm-hmm. He's like he's got a very towering frame. For lack of a better word, I'm struggling with words, but like he's just like he's clearly like physically, he looks like he's a little bit more developed than some of the other kids his age. I was impressed with him. Seems like a very mature player too. You and I have been talking a lot about aura this trip. I sense the aura from Joan Martinez. I think he has aura.
That's what the others on the team seem to think too. Carlos seems to think that. He said he has a lot of potential. Multiple times he used the word potential. That he can just, if he keeps maturing and continues, he has all the ball playing skills, the maturity, he can read the game and play the ball out on top of defending. Seems to be the belief at Real Madrid. And yeah, and then they also sent Vallejo out for the press conference, almost with a pointed message, like, you know, like they talked about Martinez, they sent Vallejo out, like, hey, we got our center backs.
Okay, so I half joked about this to you during the game when we were watching it. So he's become like a talking point today and like last couple of days because he pulled out injured that training session. Today, you know, I was filming the team coming out of the tunnel and David Ancelotti has his arm around Jesus Vallejo, like, you know, giving him a pep talk before the game. They sent him out for the press conference. I think that's the guy.
Yeah, they're trying
I think that's who they're going to rely on. And I said to you, like, imagine if Vallejo just had like an amazing season. Like how much of a game changer that would be. Like you said, like, what if he could be like the Andre Lunin of the 2024-2025 season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what pep talk they're giving him. Maybe they're like, remember, just forget everything that's happened since we brought you back as a wonder kid. Maybe that's what they're telling him. He's like, just forget the last 6 years. You're just coming back from, was it Frankfurt?
This is your rebirth.
Yeah. Like, just like, imagine you just like landed from Frankfurt and this is your first game back.
Yeah.
That's what they're telling him. I mean, he was a prodigy at one point. Like,
he was.
Like his coach said he was absurd in Germany.
Well, one thing I remember, because I wrote a lot of articles back on him about like back in 2017, because he was part of that Spain U21 generation with Ceballos and Asensio that was like very hyped, right? The thing that stood out about him was his maturity. He was Real Zaragoza's captain at the age of 18. He went to Frankfurt, was one of the best defenders in the Bundesliga, and obviously that was his peak, really. Look, I'm not saying that we need him to be like Rudiger's partner. I'm saying if he can provide reliable minutes as the fourth choice center back, that's huge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos said again, I don't think they were signing anyone. I think he said that once again, and yeah, it's
imagine if this conversation got outdated tomorrow, like they sell him. He's like,
yeah, I mean,
like people are gonna look back on this podcast like, what are you guys talking about? Jesus Vallejo. I like the guy. I'm just rooting for him to succeed. He's a very good kid. Like, he's very likable.
He had a funny smile coming through the mix zone. Like, he knew there was been a lot of chatter about it, and that it's funny that he's the one coming out. He seemed to sense the irony in that, and yeah, I don't have too much more to add about him. What else? Like, Vasquez came out to the mix zone. I mean, more guys are coming tomorrow. I think it's interesting they're staying here instead of going to New York. They're barely going to spend much time in New York.
Yeah, the New York people are upset. Like, I have journalist friends in New York who are like, can you please find out, like, what's the plan? But they're saying, so Real Madrid will train at University of Illinois tomorrow.
And probably...
And also on Friday. Friday.
So
and then they go to New York Friday evening. The game is on Saturday, right? So then I imagine they'll train 1 or 2 days in New York after that before heading to Charlotte.
Yep.
I hate to throw people under the bus in a preseason game, especially a kid, but I thought like Mario Martin had a pretty poor game. Passes were off. Your yawn threw me off. You can't yawn on the camera.
I'm so sorry. It's just so late. But yeah, I mean, Martin didn't have the best game. He didn't. Like, you're right.
I don't know if you noticed this on camera, but off camera, Modric got really upset at him one time because he wasn't blocking the passing lane behind Modric. and Milan, like there were several sequences where Milan just played like several 1-2s and just broke through the entire defensive line. Courtois had 2 big saves early. Lunin had at least one big save in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, he's the odd man out. I was surprised Nico Paz didn't start with, I know this is the training lineup, but I thought Nico Paz would be like ahead of Martin in this lineup next to Ceballos and Modric. Maybe they would just, I know Modric would probably play even deeper if that were the case, but yeah, Martin definitely was the one name that was out of place in that starting 11 anyways, so it is what it is. Well, and Fran sometimes looks like he's just rushing everything. Always like, everything he does is like at a sprint speed.
Yes.
So it's just, I see why he hasn't worked out yet. Like, it's really obvious watching it right now. It's
sometimes to his benefit because like some players just don't have that verticality and incessant drive to just go forward at every opportunity. But there are times where I think he needs to learn to decelerate. Like sometimes, like he just tries to whip the ball into the box ASAP. Yeah. And sometimes he could, if he just slowed it down, he could see a cutback instead of hitting it one time.
Yep.
Freneticism. Frenetic is the word that we often use to describe Fran Garcia.
Yeah, frenetic Fran.
Yeah. All right, we're 10 minutes in. I told you we'd do a 10-minute post-game podcast and limit it at that so we can go to sleep. But this is like the first podcast we haven't done live on YouTube, I just realized.
Oh, yeah, in a while.
If you guys haven't already done so, go and watch Sid and I's vlog that was only posted on YouTube yesterday from the training session. I thought that was pretty cool. We also get to get a glimpse of Sid blasting some Indian Bollywood music in his car on the way to training. We had a great podcast in Chicago with our fans a couple nights ago. We want to send a big thank you to everyone in Chicago who came out. It was great meeting you guys, and we'll be in New York as well. Gabe Lesser and I are doing a podcast August 4th in New York, so if you want to attend that, please click the link in the show notes and attend that. Any concluding thoughts? It can be about anything. Soldier Field.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
you guys want to see the empty stadium. It's pretty, I find it like kind of eerie to be in an empty stadium alone at night, but it's very cool. I find it like a spiritual experience almost.
Well, there are a lot of people here, so I don't feel that lonely. Like a lot of people.
I mean, by a lot you mean just a few like security people.
Yeah, you got all these 6, 7 there. You got another
it's like 10 people maximum.
Here. You see people walking on the second floor. I mean, I like the stadium. I mean, we were up there. If you want to show them where we were up there in the press boxes. You can see a lot of like, yeah, we were at a lot of these like rich, wealthy booths like are next to us. All these the private booths with AC, wine, alcohol, food being served.
Well, I mean, look at these seats right here. There was a few people, like someone approached me actually here when I was walking through, and he's like, this was like one of his seats, and it, like, I mean, look how close they are. It's crazy. I mean, the access here is unbelievable. Yeah. Like, I'm talking about media access. I'll show you, like, just pointing to that corner there. That's where the players came out. We were right there in the tunnel. That is non-existent for media at the Bernabeu or anywhere in Spain. And the players were just like warming up here. So I'll put some footage for you guys to see. Maybe at the beginning of the video you already seen it, or at the end, I'm not sure, but yeah.
But yeah, I find it interesting that the tickets are like all at least $300, and then you sell out 61,000 people stadium.
Yeah.
Even if you get 50% of that, that's like $9 million. So big money. And yeah, I mean, the fans, you know, they know what they're getting when they sign up for it. And yeah, it's interesting that so many still come. Like, so many still come.
Yes.
And it's just becoming a big part of the culture. Not one Milan fan in sight tonight.
There was no Milan fans. Like, I was walking from my hotel to here, going through Millennium Park and like just going through all these sites, and there's Real Madrid jerseys everywhere. And then like after a couple hours, I was like, hold on a second, I haven't seen one single AC Milan jersey. I go get closer to the stadium, and there is like this AC Milan official booth selling official AC Milan jerseys, and even there it was just Real Madrid fans sitting in front of it. You come inside, no joke, when the AC Milan players came out to warm up, there was just boos.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was like being in the Bernabeu.
Yeah, and there were boos when they had spells of possession too in the first half, especially a lot of boos. Yeah, I guess one note on Endrick, he was like he makes a lot of the right runs. He doesn't have like the technique to pull off all his passes. I think his shooting technique is pretty good. It'll get better with more practice, but
yeah,
I think he shoots well, decides to shoot well, and he decides when to make runs off the ball well. Next is like making the right decision when he gets the ball, because he does receive it in some dangerous areas.
Yeah.
And sometimes he makes the right choice. Other times, like especially more demanding things like perfectly weighted through balls, or just like things beyond like a quick 1-2. It gets harder. He's not as like technical as even a Vinny, maybe when he got on the scene in that sense. So some of the combination play could use work, but he's making the right runs, and he's a pest. Like he's a little pest. He's so short, but really bulky. He has like he's even bulkier than Hazard, and his butt's bigger than Hazard. Like his legs, his thighs are also more jacked than Hazard's too.
Yeah, he's got a low center of gravity.
Yeah, really low. So like players just end up shoving him because he's like a pesky. He's just, you know, if you've played soccer, he's just that pesky little guy who runs around you, who just pisses you off. You got to foul him. That's how he plays. Like, and it's kind of funny to see. It's like a cartoon character almost, the way he looks. Like he looks like he definitely has a lot of aura. He's very unique. His build, just the way he looks. Like his legs are massive, but he's so tiny. He's like if Messi was like super jacked. Is the kind of the way he looks, you know. He's like Messi.
Jack
like,
Messi.
Yeah, he's literally Messi's height. Like he's as tiny as Messi or Modric, but he's like a little. He has like a big battery pack, like a jetpack on it. It feels like. But he'll be a lot of fun.
So, I guess that's it from us. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid are training here because there's just less traffic. You can kind of hang out here.
Yeah.
New York, you might get mobbed more.
Javi, say hi to YouTube.
Hey.
Javi Herrera from Cadena. He's just
tal?
walking by. ¿Qué tal?
¿Todo bien?
Todo bien.
Bueno, pues nada, a ver qué pasa con la lesión de Palacios, que no tiene muy buena pinta.
Ah, sí.
No tiene muy buena pinta, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué dice mañana las pruebas, ojalá que no sea gran cosa. Me gustó Brahim, me gustó Güler, y en la segunda parte me gustó Joan Martinez.
Sí.
Tiene muy buena pinta.
Sí.
Parece un jugador que tiene presente y futuro, personalidad, desplazamiento en largo, 16 años, tiene muy buena pinta. Y nada, próximo partido frente al Barça, a ver qué tal. Ya un Vinicius, ya Rodrigo aquí.
Sí.
Pero bueno, para jugar un rato, 15, 20 minutos, no mucho más. No da para mucho más.
Javi, muchas gracias.
De nada, alegro mucho.
Hasta mañana.
Mañana más.
Javi was talking about Palacios' injury, and kind of unfortunate to see him bow out. I mean, he came in the second half and unfortunately got injured. I don't think it's too serious. Ancelotti said after the game that we'll see tomorrow with him. What else did Javi say? Talked about
He's just the players he liked. He liked Güler, Brahim,
Martinez. Joan Martinez.
Yeah.
Talked about him being kind of ahead of his age at 16. Excited about Vinny Militao coming back. So there you go. I understood what Javi said, but that it was more difficult for me to understand what he said compared to like Ancelotti. I can basically transcribe Ancelotti's press conference now from Spanish to English because he's not like a native Spanish speaker. But yeah. All right, now we're just rambling. We're 17 minutes in. Sid is literally going to take a nap, like on the field.
I got an hour drive after
Do you want to go nap on the field just for the YouTube?
I'm just gonna
for the gram.
Here. I'm just gonna crash here and then like find a secret hiding spot under the ground. Then wake up tomorrow and like Modric will be passing the ball, just pop out and start playing rondos with them.
There you go. That's elite content right there. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna save you from all the rambling now. We're gonna get some sleep. And preseason continues. My favorite time of year. I love preseason so much. It's so good. We're just beginning. We got New York and Charlotte left. Peace out, guys. Thank you so much. Peace out, Sid.
Bye.